When I came back home after months of working overseas, I imagined opening the front door to the smell of dinner, to my wife's smile, and to the feeling of safety only family can give. Instead, I stepped into silence. The house felt heavy, almost suffocating. My wife greeted me with a forced smile, but her eyes darted away, avoiding mine. Right then, my heart tightened, and an old fear crept back into my mind. I tried to ignore it. I told myself I was just tired, that maybe the distance had made everything feel different. But as I looked at her, I noticed things I couldn't explain away. Her figure had changed. She carried herself differently, and her hands, always fidgeting, seemed to shield her stomach. My mind raced, but I forced myself not to jump to conclusions. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, hearing the faint sounds of her moving around the house. Every creak of the floor felt like a reminder of the doubt that had been building inside me long before this trip. I remembered late-night phone calls she dismissed as wrong numbers. I remembered the time I caught her quickly locking her phone when I walked into the room. Those moments haunted me now. The next morning, I sat across from her at breakfast. I asked simple questions, but her answers were short, distracted. She wouldn't meet my eyes. I wanted to scream, to demand the truth, but something inside me whispered, "Wait." What she didn't know, what I had almost forgotten myself, was that before leaving on my last trip, I had installed a small hidden camera in the living room. It wasn't something I was proud of. I did it because I already had doubts, because some part of me feared the woman I love might not be the same when I returned. For weeks, I never touched the files. I didn't want to believe I had a reason to, but now, watching her, seeing her evasive behavior, I knew I couldn't ignore it any longer. With trembling hands, I unlocked the folder on my phone. I pressed play. On the screen, I saw my own living room, our couch, the place where we had spent countless evenings together. But this time, it wasn't me. Sitting there, it was another man, a stranger in my home. I watched her as she welcomed him in, her face glowing in a way I hadn't seen in years. I saw her laugh at his jokes, lean into his touch, and kiss him like she once kissed me. My chest burned. Every second of that video ripped through me like a blade. This wasn't just betrayal. It was humiliation, captured in my own house, under the same roof where I had believed we were building a future together. I must have gone pale because when I finally looked up from my phone, she froze. She knew instantly what I had seen. Tears welled in her eyes before I even said a word. I asked her, "Did you know about the camera?" My voice low, almost calm. She didn't answer. Silence filled the room, louder than any scream could ever be. And in that silence, I had all the confirmation I needed. Finally, she whispered, "I'm sorry." But those words felt hollow. Sorry couldn't erase the images burned into my memory. Sorry couldn't make the child she now carrying mine. Sorry couldn't rebuild the trust she had shattered with her choices. She tried to explain herself, saying she felt lonely, that she never intended for it to go this far, that she still loved me. But every word sounded like an excuse. I'd been faithful, sacrificing my time and energy to provide for us. And while I was gone, she gave her heart, her body, and her loyalty to another man. The hardest part wasn't even the cheating. It was the fact that she might now be carrying his child, a living reminder of her betrayal, proof that she had shared something with him that was supposed to be sacred between us. I stood up, my hands shaking, my vision blurred with anger and heartbreak. She reached for me, begging me not to leave, crying that she needed me, that she couldn't do this alone. But her tears didn't move me anymore. I told her quietly, "You chose him the moment you let him in. And now you've lost me." I picked up my bag, the same one I had brought home hours earlier, and walked toward the door. Behind me, I heard her sobs, but I didn't turn back. I didn't know where I would go or what the future held, but I knew one thing for certain. I would never return to a woman who betrayed me so deeply. The betrayal had destroyed everything I once believed in. But as I stepped out into the cold night air, I realized something else too. It had also freed me. I would no longer live in lies. I would no longer build my future on broken trust. Walking away was the most painful decision of my life, but it was also the only way to save myself.